Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful recap is finally in for Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. In today's episode, Remy Price, Christian Weissman, is rattled by Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada. Meanwhile, Penelope Poppy Nozawa, Romy Park, warns John, Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, and Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda. At the shooting range, Luna puts more bullets into Steffi Forrester Finnegan's, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, headshot. Remy is a bit rattled. Luna curses Steffi, keeping her from Finn. The young woman also says that Steffi ruined her life. Luna takes the picture down and smiles at the picture full of holes. Luna talks about using Steffi's headshot in her image board. Remy doesn't want to be involved in this. Luna keeps ranting about Steffi. She adds that everyone is keeping her from Finn. Over at the hospital, Finn and Lee are talking about Luna. They hope she's gone from town. Poppy shows up and immediately gets attacked by Lee's insults. Poppy says that Luna is becoming unglued. Even Sheila Carter Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, thinks so. Lee rolls her eyes, but Finn wants to know what Sheila said about Luna. Poppy says not much, just that she's becoming unglued and blames Steffi. Poppy and Lee debate about Luna. The doctor thinks Luna should be sent away. Poppy asks if Finn feels the same way. The doctor says he doesn't want Steffi being in fear. At Forrester Creations, Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kay, talks to Steffi about Luna. Ridge is worried. Steffi promises that Finn won't let Luna be a part of their lives. Unfortunately, Luna can't seem to drop the fantasy. Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, enters and asks what's going on. Taylor is filled in on the latest Luna drama. Taylor thinks Luna needs therapy. Wow, what a stellar theory, Doc. Ridge blames Bill Spencer, Don Diamont. Finn shows up and once again declares he won't have anything to do with Luna. Steffi is his priority. The doctor swears that Luna will not be a threat to her. Poppy surprises Luna by showing up at her apartment. The girl doesn't want to let Poppy in. Eventually, Poppy enters and apologizes for the tension. Is Poppy there to fix the relationship? The mother says she has always loved Luna and always will. Poppy mentions that Sheila is worried about her, and Luna flips out, ranting once again about Steffi. The sun rose over Los Angeles, casting golden beams through the vast Forrester Creations windows, but there was no warmth in the air, only tension thick enough to be cut with a diamond-edged pair of shears. Tuesday's episode was a tangled web of confrontations, buried secrets, and sharp-edged warnings, with Remy, Poppy, and Lee all taking center stage. At Forrester Creations, Remy's world is shaking. Remy Sinclair stood in front of the mirror in the design office, his typically confident stance faltering. His hand lingered near the sketch pad on the table, trembling slightly. Gone was the cocky intern who had strutted into the fashion house just weeks ago, full of ambition and veiled secrets. In his place was a young man whose web of lies was beginning to unravel. One tug at the thread, and the entire tapestry might fall. He glanced over his shoulder when the door creaked open. It was Hope, her expression soft but lined with concern. "You okay, Remy?" she asked, stepping in slowly, a garment bag slung over her shoulder. Remy plastered on a smile. Too wide, too bright. Of course, just tired. Big week. But Hope didn't buy it. She studied him, her eyes flickering to the rough sketch he'd tried to hide under a pile of fabric swatches. It was the same design she'd been working on, and she knew she hadn't shown it to anyone. Her gaze narrowed. Funny. That design looks familiar. Remy stiffened. Coincidence, I guess. Just sketching. Hope didn't push it. Not yet. But her wheels were turning. Was Remy stealing designs? Or was it something more complicated? Either way, she wasn't going to let it slide. After Hope left, Remy sank into the chair, rubbing his temples. The voices in his head were louder than ever now, memories, whispers of the past, and worst of all, the echo of Poppy's warning. Elsewhere. Poppy's warning. Echoes through the halls. Poppy stood in the courtyard behind Il Giardino, clutching her phone tightly. Her recent conversation with Remy still rang in her ears, the desperation in his voice, the fear behind his bravado. She had warned him. Whatever you're doing, whatever secrets you think you're keeping, you're not as invisible as you think. And Lee, she knows something. And Poppy wasn't wrong. Her older sister, Dr. Lee Finnegan, had been circling closer, ever since Luna's collapse and the reemergence of secrets once buried in the Nevada desert. But this wasn't just about Luna anymore. This was about Remy, and the connection that none of them had the courage to admit aloud. As Poppy hung up and turned to head back into the restaurant, she was startled to find Luna standing there, arms folded. "Who were you talking to?" Poppy tried to play it cool. "Just work." "Why?" "You were saying Lee's name," Luna said, her eyes hard. "And Remy's." For a moment, Poppy hesitated, as if caught in a trap of her own making. Then she let out a soft sigh. "Luna, there are things about your family, about your past, that I've tried to protect you from. But Lee, she's demanding answers now. And if she finds out everything—" "What everything, Mom?" Luna interrupted. "What haven't you told?" "Eh?" Poppy flinched. Her daughter was no longer a child. And worse, Luna had a right to know, but not now. Not with Lee watching every move like a hawk. "Just trust me," Poppy whispered, brushing Luna's hair back gently. "Please." Back at the hospital, Lee makes her move at University Hospital. Dr. Lee Finnegan was reviewing patient files, but her mind was elsewhere. Ever since she'd seen Remy, something hadn't sat right. His face, his mannerisms, the way he hovered near Luna, not just as a colleague. There was something familial there, a resemblance she couldn't shake. She set the tablet down and buzzed her assistant. "I want all available records on Remy Sinclair. Birth, education, family, everything." Her assistant looked uneasy. "Is this an official request?" Lee's tone was icy. "It is now." Later, as she sat in her office reviewing the sparse background on Remy, Lee's suspicions hardened. Too much was missing. Inconsistent school records, a vague family history, no mention of a father. And the timing. It all lined up too conveniently with Poppy's disappearance for 9 months almost 2 decades ago. "You thought you could hide this from me, Poppy," Lee muttered under her breath. "But I will not let another child in this family grow up without the truth." Just then, her phone buzzed. A text from Poppy. "We need to talk. No more hiding. Meet me tonight." Lee's lips curved in a cold smile. About time. At the Cliff House, Finn caught in the middle. Meanwhile, Finn arrived home from his hospital shift to find Luna pacing the living room, clearly agitated. "Your mom is investigating Remy," she blurted the moment he walked in. "She thinks—" "I don't know what she thinks, but she's digging and my mom is scared." Finn sighed, shrugging off his coat. "Luna, I've learned to never underestimate my mom. If she's suspicious, it's for a reason. But what's going on with Remy that has everyone acting like it's DEFCON 1? Luna's eyes darted. "I don't know, but Remy, he told me something. He said he's not who everyone thinks he is. That Poppy promised him he'd always have a place with us." Finn froze. "Wait. He said that? In those words?" Luna nodded. "Why?" Finn leaned against the table, rubbing his jaw. "Because that sounds an awful lot like something a brother would be told. Or a son." The weight of that possibility settled between them like a thunderclap. At Il Giardino, the sisters. Collide night fell over Los Angeles, and the patio at Il Giardino glowed softly with string lights and flickering candles. But there was no romance in the air when Lee arrived, her stride sharp and unapologetic. Poppy was already seated, nerves in her posture, sipping from a glass of white wine she barely tasted. "You wanted to talk?" Lee began, not even sitting down. "Start explaining." Poppy stood. "You're going to figure it out anyway, so I'm going to tell you the truth." Lee crossed her arms. "Is Remy your son?" Poppy nodded slowly. "Yes, and he's your nephew." Lee recoiled as if slapped. "You had another child, and you never told me?" Poppy's voice cracked. "I was young. I made mistakes. I didn't know how to raise him. I gave him to friends out of state, people who could give him a better life. I checked in, I supported him from afar, and now he's back." "Does he know who his father is?" Lee asked sharply. Poppy swallowed. "No, and he doesn't need to. It was complicated." Lee's fury boiled. "So we're just repeating history? Another secret child? Another scandal for our family to survive?" "No," Poppy snapped. "This time I'm going to make it right, but I need you to back off. Let me handle it with Remy." Lee leaned in close. "I'll back off when I'm convinced you're not destroying your children's lives all over again. I already lost faith in you once. Don't make me do it again." Closing moments. Truths and threats as the episode drew to a close. The tension crested like a wave ready to crash. Remy, alone in the Forrester design room after hours, opened a drawer and pulled out an old photograph, himself as a baby, held by a younger Poppy. He stared at it, a tear slipping down his cheek. He whispered, "Who am I really?" Poppy, walking back to her car, called a number she hadn't dialed in. Over a decade. When a gravelly male voice answered, she whispered, "He's here. Our son is here. We can't hide anymore." Lee, back at the hospital, stared at a DNA test form on her screen, cursor blinking over Remy's name. She clicked, "Submit." Luna, lying in bed beside Finn, whispered, "If Remy's my brother, what does that make us?" Finn pulled her close, silent, because there were no words. Final thoughts. Tuesday's episode packed emotion, history, and shocking revelations into every scene. From Remy's unraveling identity to Poppy's desperate balancing act, and Lee's refusal to be left in the dark again, this was classic Bold and the Beautiful at its finest. As the truth edges closer to being exposed, one thing is certain: the Forrester world isn't ready for the storm that's coming. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Bold and Beautiful Update YouTube channel for more update news.